just under a year, and that held my curve but didn't fix it. And really probably wasn't until I got a little stronger that it seemed to be better. Athlete-wise, I'm a rower, runner, cyclist with a big anterior tilt. So.
Okay. Any pain anywhere?
Right shoulder, right knee.
Okay.
QL right side.
What do people want to see? Do they want me to see me stick with the material here because that's really what I would do, or do you want me to like go through my full evaluation? What's going to be best?
A little bit of a full eval.
Cool. Okay. So, is there any movement that's painful? That's the first thing. Outcome. What's meaningful for you?
I just want to get your input on what you like, how you break down.
Okay. Okay. Are you able to see your curves at all?
Yes.
Okay. Can you do like a toe touch just so we can kind of get some appreciation for that? I know it's going to be most likely, but. So, this is your classic scoliosis test. You can see she's got a rib hump on that side, right? Can't tell much in the thoracic, but usually that's what you would see in a scoliosis.
So mine's mostly lumbar and sacral.
Okay, there you go. I'm not going to be able to check sacral, but clearly we can see that the right side is much more prominent than the left. Okay, cool with that? All right, go ahead, and I want you to go ahead and lie on your back. So, I just did a video on how I educate people on why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'll also link that. That might be a good one to watch because I've had a lot of people ask that. And I know you're going to come up with something too at some point. Probably going to be better than me. All right, first thing I look at, straight leg raise. And really, I'm not making much decisions off of arms at your side. I'm not making many decisions at this. I'm just looking at it as a comparator. Some people, if they're narrow, remember eccentric strategy, due to the sacral counternutation and how that impacts the sacrotuberous ligament, which attaches to the hamstring, sometimes they'll be super duper flexible. All right. Usually wides, that's not the case. We'll say 87 degrees. Close. Same side. Here in supine, I'll check external rotation. You're looking for 60 as the norm. 40 is the norm for IR. She's got about 20, 25. All right. What that's already telling me is she's done this for some reason to make that happen. And maybe that's as an attempt to try to, or because the outlet would be closed, right? IRing the femurs would open up the outlet. Because I'm assuming she's a narrow external angle. Just relax your leg. Same thing, 60, probably gonna be limited. We'll say 25, maybe a little bit more than the other side. Okay, infrasternal angle, we know she's narrow. Pretty narrow. Shoulder flexion. I check shoulder flexion, it says scapular upward rotation. It's not my first decision maker though, but if I've cleaned up ER/IR and this is limited, I'll go after this. Two ways I check this. That looks really good, doesn't it? Because we're looking for 180. But we have to see if she's cheating. How can I assess if there's laxity in the humerus that's allowing that to happen? Is it okay if I put my thumb in your armpit?
Sure.
Okay. If I put the thumb in the armpit, I'm going to wait for the humerus to pop into my hand. Which is about, it's not bad. It's about right there. So she's got like legit. Now here's human matrix, right? ER. Slight limitation in IR to 80. Same thing. Full. Yeah, I mean that's clean. Good job. 100 plus ER. It's really not bad IR, but you've also been doing some work on that today. I'd say that's full. So right now, I'm already thinking she's a narrow infrasternal angle. We probably need an up pump handle on this side. And I want to see if that clears up IR and shoulder flexion for that matter. Other things I would look at. Horizontal abduction. Can you scoot to the edge? This would assess how well I can rotate or adduct the scap. Scoot a little bit closer. I'm going to put my hand on the front of the humerus. And drop it down. And I stop it as soon as I feel the humerus pop into my hand, which is about right there. Okay? So she's probably, has some laxity, but we got about 10 degrees, because I bet she could go further. I don't know, maybe not, but not much. We'll say maybe 5 to 10 degrees. Some people, they'll be able to go all the way down. You can see the humerus pop way ahead. You want to stop as soon as you feel that pop out in front. Same thing, other side.
And what should it be?
45 is normal. Scoot a little closer to the edge. Awesome. Same thing. Maybe a little bit more on that side. Okay.
What'd you get?
20, 15. We'll say 17. Say 17. Line your side.
So which way are you measuring that from? So
That's
you said
0.
45 that's 0. So it should be able to go down farther?
Mhm.
Okay, that's interesting.
Key line your side facing that way. Scoot back through until you bump into me. Don't, not too hard, don't delicate. Thank you. Those are also some of the jokes that I say.
I laughed inside.
Minus 20.
Well, that's
That's right.
way better than it was earlier. This
That's good. Well, yeah, put in some more. I'll also check hip abduction. It's not a first line decision maker. My first line decision makers are still, she needs hip extension, we need pump handle likely, and we also probably need to see if we can get more lower thorax expansion or bucket handle. Here we go, same thing other side. Dopey smoky. Oh, definitely more. I'd say she's minus 15, right? Which is different than, but again, this was the reason for the no assumptions slide in the way beginning, because oftentimes you're taught that this should be more limited on the left than the right. Scoliosis changes things. So, Allison needs, she's narrow infrasternal angle, narrow infrapubic. She needs hip extension, right? We need up pump handle probably on this side. Can't adduct either scap. A lot of times, well, that would probably correlate with your scaps being more here based on your inability to pump handle on the left. And I'm assuming from the start you probably didn't have full IR on both sides.
Oh, yeah, over the weekend? No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
That was significantly better.
Okay.
I checked her this morning and IR was very limited, more on the
Yeah,
right side than left.
significantly more limited on right than left, too.
Cool. And but if you came in and that was you, I could also probably know I needed a drive pump handle based on your inability to pull the scap back in a horizontal abduction. All right? So, move I would choose, since I've worked with you already, I might just go with a hook line, just to see, or actually, you know what, might even be good. Yeah, because we have that. I could also go with the stride position, but let's just see what hook line looks like. I feel a lot better though for that.
Okay, good. I totally, first time in a long time I sanitized that bad boy.
Sorry. You signed the waiver though. You signed the waiver. Okay. So, what does she need to feel with this?
Adductors,
And,
glutes.
yes. Okay. And if we're feeling frisky, I might get her to get some up pump handle in there as well. So, let's go ahead and squeeze. I want you to just slowly roll your hips up, 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 up. Are we getting some glutes?
Just a little bit.
Okay. That's okay, but you're not getting rectus, and I know that's your big thing. Okay, go ahead and lift, 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 lift. Still?
Still no rectus.
We still got some glutes?
A little bit, not much.
Squeeze.
A little better.
Cool. I'm not going to squeeze because I know she's been working on that most of today. I'm going to start her here because eventually I want to get her into the up pump handle position. We're cool with that? So go ahead and breathe in. Long sigh. reach, 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 reach. Now she's getting a little bit of rectus. Okay, time out. Now, if she's getting rectus, I like that she's getting glute here. What was my other trick that I could utilize to de-rectusify?
Pillow under the head.
Yes. I did that yesterday. I went up to work with my She wasn't too happy about it. But hey, go ahead. All right. Yes. Long sigh, I want you to reach really slowly, which is what I did in quadruped to prevent someone from overcrunching.
Her chin came back down.
In through your nose. That's softening a little bit. Great. You can keep this. Can you go arms overhead just a little bit? Breathe in nice and easy. Ooh, that's a little tough. We'll go back down. Way better at keeping this drop down. We just have to be able to keep the tension here on the end.
Right.
Were you still getting a decent amount of glute though?
Yeah, not crazy though. I think this is a little bit hard. So like just a little softer ball that gets more feedback rather than the sliding so much.
Did you widen her stance?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So remember here, the basic heuristic, put people in positions they can't get to and make them struggle. She couldn't get into hip IR. So what am I doing? I'm putting her into hip IR and I'm putting her into hip extension. Let's see what that does. Squeeze. Go tuck yourself. We got some glutes now?
No.
Can you lift higher?
Rectus.
Relax, 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 relax. I know. Squeeze this. Roll your hips up. Keep rolling.
Let me pull back on my heels a little more.
You hear me? You're pulling the heels.
Drive your feet down.
You got it?
A little bit right side, not left.
Right side up. Squeeze this again.
Yeah. That's better.
Okay. When in doubt, squeeze it out. Easy in through your nose. Super long sigh, super slow reach, super slow reach. That's pretty jelly. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep some tension here in through your nose. Not bad. Keep some tension here.
Keep reaching
That's a good sign. That's a really good sign. Because that means you got into the position and you couldn't get air where you needed it to go.
Okay.
Okay? That was awesome. Can you try that one more time, just as you did so beautifully? If you can get 2 or 3 breaths like that, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
If you can get 5, holy shnikes.
Okay.
You're doing really good,
Don't force
Allison.
it, but don't force it. I don't want 5 crappy breaths.
Okay.
Yes, way to keep that relaxed. This is good. See that shaking? Shaking means she's using the right stuff. Reach slow, reach slow, reach slow, reach slow, reach slow. I got $10 million right here. $10 million, $10 million. There you go. That's awesome. Pause. 1, 2, 3. Go chin away a little bit more. One more in through your nose. Yes, we're getting some expansion up top. I'm happy about that. Rest.
Good job.
Good job.
Let's see what that did. Thank you. Legs straight. I don't anticipate ISA will change much. Arms chilling at your side. Actually, the right, I would say, is a little bit better. But we still have that left, so it's pretty. This was full, right? But I'd say that's even softer. So that's a case, like that rule, like that was close to full, but even the amount of tone that she had as we went down was way less.
Nice.
Same thing with your hip extension trick. Remember, yeah, I can get them there, but if you're unsure, still go after hip extension. We may even see that here. Wall. Okay? Out of curiosity's sake, let this chill, let this chill, let this chill. Let it go. That's a lot more.
Yeah. That's impressive.
I'm assuming this would be the case also, but we shouldn't make assumptions. She's a little bit less, but it's still more. Right? I'd say 40, 30, 35. Horizontal abduction. Can you scoot to the edge towards me? Yep.
Not a lot more.
No. I mean, I could push her, but then she's going to go up the front.
And what fixes horizontal abduction typically?
Depends. Scoot to the edge. You can work scap retraction or adduction based activities. Sometimes that will take care of it. Sometimes continuing to drive emphasizing the angle can also help.
Okay.
What I would probably do for her is I might do a squeezy type intervention to see if I can get that to open further and then go back that way. And if that didn't work, then I would try something where we're getting a little bit more scap retraction
Okay.
or abduction. A hair better, but it's probably closer to my hair than it is now. Well, can you line your side? Thank you. Still limited, but I would say more. Right, so she still needs hip extension. Same thing other side. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely better. Really symmetrical, and we're at minus maybe 10. So, she still needs hip extension. I like what we did here, but as soon as we went overhead, she's losing this. So the emphasis is still here and here, and if you were my patient, Allison, I would just give you that to work on for right now. All right? If I had more time, I would go with the wall squat variation with the feet IR'd as well and see if that could get the last little bit of hip extension. That would be where I would probably go next. Okay. I can most certainly show that, but I also realize we're just a bit over time.
Is there anything that you're seeing when she says I have right knee pain, QL, shoulder pain?
That makes me think. From a treatment standpoint, no. Because the goal, the place where a person is going to feel pain is likely arbitrary.
Okay.
Maybe not arbitrary, is probably not the right word. But the treatment is still, we need to restore variance within her movement system. And my hope would be that that evens out the workload distribution throughout her body and doesn't overload some of the areas that she is feeling too much pain, pressure, what have you.
Okay.
Because a lot of times the areas that hurt that's probably happening because they have an inability to offload in that specific area. For example, let's say that I just lectured for 16 hours instead of broken up the seminar the way I did. No breaks. And if anyone moved from their seat, I had 2 turrets in either corner that had guns that would go, and you'd be dead. Okay? Okay. Do you think... Do you think that you would probably be hurting somewhere if you couldn't even do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Why is that? Why would that hurt?
So you don't have variance? Block of blood flow?
Yeah. Thank you, Diaga. Well done, Ducky. Yeah. Or even, how about from a tissue perspective?
Ischemic pain?
Yeah. Tissue ischemia. If I do this long enough, let's wait. I'm kidding. But let's say I do this. Eventually what's going to happen is she's going to start getting pins, needles, so on and so forth, because the nerve is getting compressed. It's ischemic. It's not getting as much blood flow as it could. Apply that same principle to an area that lacks variance. If this is my only strategy, QL is going to continue to get loaded, continue to get loaded, continue to get loaded. there's no redistribution of blood flow that potentially leads to pain. And if you look at some of the literature on muscle activation in individuals with persistent pain, if you contrast how active the muscles are in acute versus chronic, in acute instances, I hurt my bicep from flexing because Heinz got way better hair than I do. That muscle is actually going to downregulate so I don't tear further. But in persistent pain states, that's flip-flop. This becomes more chronically contracted, likely due to sympathetic overactivity, which impacts muscle spindle activation. That probably alters the resting muscle tone of people, is probably a contributing factor. Okay? So if I have you in a stressful scenario, which is managing gravity, given your structural constraints, and you have a loss of variance, some areas are going to be more prone to overload because you're not giving that rest position. So my hope would be, regardless of where you hurt, where any of you hurt, or you can't move the way I want you to because you can't manage gravity effectively, I'm still going to restore variance. And my hope would be that that helps you get you closer to your goals. And if it doesn't, let's say we do that and you still have pain, then maybe I'm doing some of the local stuff that we all did. Maybe that's where manual therapy is warranted. Or maybe that's where, if you had foot pain, maybe I would do something, have you do something locally to your foot and try to reintegrate it back into something else. Maybe she lacks eversion. Well, maybe you're going to do your manual therapy stuff to improve ankle eversion, a passive activity, and then maybe I'm going to put you in positions where you're driving that ankle eversion along with some of the stuff that I want you to do up here. And that's how my brain thinks for that.
So she was doing some things before that she can't do anymore because of pain. So let's say her goal was she wants to run again. So when are you going to look at her gait running, and it's like, how are you going to get her from this to that? Are you going to look at that at this point? I mean, because she's pretty athletic, she does stuff, so.
It would depend on when running hurt. If it's...
Are you thinking things now? Because I just said that. Are you, with what you looked at, are you like, she's probably, her right knee is probably hurting when she's running because yada yada. Because.
Well, maybe. So I would definitely look at running form if she has that as a possibility. So I have a runner who I'm working with right now, and he gets pain if his mileage goes too much too soon, or if he goes too fast in a given activity. And a lot of the things that he's doing from a running perspective do match some of the table stuff. So when he runs, he was starting way more this. I have to think about it. So he could get more this arm forward than he could this arm. So he had an inability to rotate his trunk to the right. So he was dealing with left hip pain. So he was good at, and he liked hip extension. So we were working on forward reaching based activities to start, and then my cue when he was running was to emphasize more front side mechanics, which is throwing the arms more forward and upward, which is something desirable from a sprinting perspective. But that was because he could still run. So, but if as soon as you started running it would hurt, well then there's no point in checking that unless it's, okay, yeah, you feel that initially, then I'm going to go do something, try it again, see if that helps. But the way I would bridge the gap is, if it was a pain perspective, restore as much variance I can on the table, see if she can maintain the positions needed to run well, which is I need to be able to get into this. So what are your activities that you can do?
Good onward.
Single leg steps, sprinter
Yep.
stance, single
Yep.
leg step.
Absolutely. All of that. Progress the intensity until I bridge the gap. And then probably at the same time too, I'm also going to do some management of your mileage.